Everyone, I am Dr. Noori, Senior Editor, and on behalf of Homeopathy 360, I warmly welcome you all on today's enriching session, the title of which is Scope of Homeopathy in Medico-Legal Practice. So this session promises to offer valuable insights into a field that is often overlooked, yet extremely crucial for every practicing homeopathic physician. As practitioners, we often focus on the clinical and therapeutic side of our profession, but today we shift our lens to the medico-legal aspects, what they mean, why they matter, and most importantly, how they apply practically in our day-to-day clinical setup. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Dr. Janki. Ma'am is currently serving as an associate professor in the Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology at Rajkot Homeopathic Medical College, affiliated with Parul University. She is also the founder of the Holistic Homoeopathic Clinic and Research Center in Rajkot, Gujarat, a space dedicated to integrative healing and patient care center. She is also an entrepreneur and driving force behind Om Herbal Products. So without further delay, ma'am, let's dive into today's session. I welcome you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm very much thankful to you to providing me such a platform, and I'm very much thankful to Homeopathy 360, and also thankful to our principal, Dr. Hitat Mehta sir, and the management of Parul University for providing me such an opportunity to share my views on this national platform. So let's start this session.
Yes.
Let me share my screen first.
So while ma'am is sharing her screen, if you have any questions, audience, please put them in the Q&A box and we'll try to take them in the end of the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, is it visible, ma'am?
It is.
Okay. Okay, so now let me begin with one question, that why did I choose this topic? So well, in my years of teaching and my practice, I have observed that medical legal awareness is often underestimated in homeopathy. Many of us believe that the medical legal cases are only limited to MBBS doctors or only to the government hospitals. But the truth is, any registered medical practitioner, including us homeopaths, can be faced with medical legal responsibilities. And when such cases comes to our clinic, whether it is of poisoning cases or it may be of assault or even death may can occur in our clinic, at that time, what we do and we don't do can have some serious legal consequences. So the purpose of this session is to bring the clarity and confidence about our scope in medical legal practice. So by the end of this session, I hope you will appreciate that medical legal knowledge is not an option, but it is essential part of safe, ethical, and a professional homeopathic practice. So now let's begin with the scope itself. So in every medical situation, there are two sides, that is medical component and the legal component. The medical side is what we are comfortable with, that is the diagnosing the disease, treatment portion, prescription, and other remedial measures. And the legal side is where the law expects us to provide the evidence, maintain accurate records, and issue truthful certificates. And sometimes even we can have to testify in courts. The scope of medical legal practice in homeopathy lies exactly at this intersection. It is about the understanding not just our role as a healer, but also our role as a responsible professionals under the law. So what is the medical legal practice? It is very simple. Medical legal case is one where our medical opinion, our notes, our actions, can be end up in being examined in a court of law. So here are some simple examples. Suppose if a person visit your clinic with injuries due to road traffic accident, it might be a case of suspected poisoning, it might be a case of sexual assault, it might be a case of attempted suicide, it might be case of unnatural death, or any case of mental illness that shows the dangerous behavior. Then at that time, they are all considered as a medico-legal cases. Okay. Now here is one question: why must homeopath understand medico-legal practice? Now some of us may think, I'm a homeopath and I'm not taking any emergency cases. Then why should I worry about this medico-legal practice? Uh, Answer is yes, you should worry about your medico-legal practice. Let me tell you why. So every registered medical practitioner, irrespective of the system, is legally accountable. Suppose patient may die at your clinic. There might be any accident victims may come to your clinic first. And suppose if you are practicing in rural areas, then rep survivor may approaches you first. In poisoning cases, relative may bring patient to you as an emergency condition. So remember, your prescription, your case notes, and even your silence can all be used in court. So medico-legal knowledge is very crucial for all of us. Okay. Now let's understand the legal role of an homeopathic doctor. So in the eye of law, a doctor is not only healer, but also a potential expert witness. So first is we are the treating physicians, whether routine or emergency cases, we provide care. Then second one is we may be called as an expert witness in the court. If court believes that our knowledge is relevant, we can be summoned to give an opinion. Then third one is we are the document providers. Our prescriptions, our certificates, our case note may be produced as an evidence in the court. And the fourth one, in many rural areas, we are the first contact doctors, the first professional to see the patient. So sometimes before the patient reaches to the government hospital, they came to us and approaches us. So this is why our every note, our every signature, and what we make decision, then they all have medico-legal significance. So let's summarize some terms, medico-legal terms that we should know. That is MLC means medico-legal case. Then FIR means first information report. PMR means post-mortem report. Dying declaration is the final legal statement of the patient. And consent means voluntary permission to treat. And injury certificate, which includes the record of type and severity of the injury. And negligence means breach of duty that cause harm. Now, these are not just definitions, but these are the realities. So tomorrow, if you treat an injured person, you might be asked by police officer to write any certificate or to provide medical legal reports. If it might be a patient that collapse in your clinic, then police may ask you for your records. So understanding these terms will help you in our clinical practice.
Ma'am, can you please move your slide as well?
Oh, wait a minute. Now, is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Ma'am, you can go to slideshow. From there, you can move the slides on top.
Okay, so here are our primary duties in medico-legal practice. So let's summarize this. So in medico-legal practice, our duty is to identify and documenting the injuries, burn injuries, or in cases of poisoning, we should identify and document the signs and symptoms of poisoning. Then we have a duty to refer a medico-legal case to the appropriate centers, to the government hospitals, or at the higher centers. Then we have to maintain proper records with the date, time, and signature. We have to issue medical certificates truthfully and carefully, never issue backdated certificates. And we have also duty to provide expert opinion in the court of law when summoned. And we have a duty to handle sensitive cases, cases like sexual assault or child abuse, with utmost ethical maturity. So in simple terms, do your clinical work with honesty, but always keep in mind the medical legal implications. Okay. So here are some real world examples where you need both clinical skills as well as the legal awareness. So first one is, suppose if death occurs in your clinic, now what should you do? So in that case, you must report it immediately to the police. If you are treating a minor patient with sexual assault, then at that time you must report it under the POCSO Act. The POCSO means Protection of Children Against the Sexual Offenses. Then if you are came across with the cases of suicidal attempt, at that time you should record the history in detail, inform the police, and refer this case to the government hospital. Remember, do not try to examine internal examination. Okay. Then, while treating injury cases with the history of assault, at that time you should record each and everything, and then you have to refer it to the government hospital. And while treating poisoning cases, it might be suicidal or it might be accidental poisoning. Then do not just prescribe the medicines. You have to inform the authorities. You have to inform the MLC. So handling such cases wrongly may lead to criminal prosecution. So act accordingly. So let me share an example. There is an homeopath who treated a 12-year-old girl with vaginal bleeding. So at that time, practitioner thought that it might be a hormonal imbalance, and at that time, he prescribed the medicine pulsatilla. So by the next day, police arrived at his clinic. It was a case of sexual assault, and in this case, doctor fails to report it. So this is the violation of the POCSO Act, and for this negligence, he was booked for not informing the authorities. So even silence can become a legal offense. So it is very much important to know our legal duties in our practice. Okay. There are many misconceptions among us. Some of us may think that it is the only job of government doctors or MBBS doctors, or that is only applies to the postmortem, or that is only limited to the big hospitals, or that any private practitioner are not entitled to do this medical legal practice. But all of these are wrong. Medical legal practice is the duty of every registered medical practitioner, regardless of its system, its specialty, or place of his practice. Okay, so up till now in this segment, what we have discussed, let's summarize it quickly. There are some key points that we discuss. We discuss what is the medico-legal practice. We discuss that all homeopathic doctors are accountable under the law. Proper documentation is required for ethical practice. You can be summoned as a homeopath, as an expert witness in the court of law, and legal knowledge is very much important to protect our career as well as our patient and us. So up till now, we have built the foundation that being a healer in today's world is also means being legally we should legally aware and ethically alert. So in next module, next session, we will explore the legal foundations that define the role and identification of the homeopathy across the India. So we have so many questions in our mind, like, are we legally recognized as a homeopath? Can we issue certificates? What are the laws that govern us? And what certificate can we issue? So these are some critical questions. So let's answer one by one. Okay. Our first question is homeopathy is legally recognized in India? So the answer is yes. We are legally recognized system of medicine in the India. Homeopathy is not an alternative system. So we govern by the NCH Act, that is National Commission for Homeopathy Act. This act gives the fully regulatory and academic authority to homeopaths. Okay, that is the similar to the MCI, that is Medical Council of India, that what rules for the allopaths. So there are three key bodies that governs, that is Ministry of Ayush, NCH, and the State Council of Homeopathy. So legally we are doctors, but the scope of practice and duties are very much defined. There are several laws and acts that governs our the right and responsibilities. So let's look at this. First of all, we have discussed that is NCH Act. Then another act is Drug and Cosmetic Act that controls the preparation, labeling, and sales of homeopathic drug. Then BSA, that is Bharatiya Shakshya Adhiniyam, previously known as Indian Evidence Act, that recognize homeopath as an expert witness. Then another one is Consumer Protection Act, that makes us legally liable for the negligence. Then under the MTP Act, we are not entitled to do MTP in our clinics. Then BNS, that is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, previously it was known as IPC. It applies in the all cases of medical negligence. Okay, so next question is, what can we legally do? So here is the most of confusion lies. So let's clarify that being an homeopath, we can maintain the medical records, we can take and document the consent, we can issue medical fitness certificate, we can issue sick certificate, illness certificates, we can testify in court as an expert witness, and we can refer a medico-legal case to an higher authority. So now homeopath cannot do postmortems. We cannot issue death certificate or birth certificate unless we are authorized. We cannot handle sexual assault cases or MLC cases. We cannot practice allopathy without dual registration, and we cannot perform surgeries or invasive procedures that are not taught in our curriculum. So our practice must be confined to what we are trained for and what we are registered to do so. So practicing outside our scope is called crossopathy, which is illegal in India. Okay, this is the burning issue in our India, that we have one question that can we prescribe allopathic medicines? The answer is no. Our act doesn't permit us to prescribe allopathic medicines. So here I want to discuss a case of Poonam Verma versus Ashwin Patel. So in 1996, a homeopath treated a patient with allopathic medicine, and unfortunately patient died. Then Supreme Court ruled it as a negligence per se, because the doctor was practicing outside their scope. That doctor was practicing allopathy, being an homeopath. So moral is, you may be a good doctor, your practice might be good, but if you are not legally permitted to do something, then you are vulnerable. Okay. Okay, now let's come to the portion of certificate writing. So being a homeopath, what is allowed in certificate writing? So we can write or issue fitness certificate, medical leave certificate, general illness certificate, referral slip, and treatment records. And we are not permitted to issue birth certificate, death certificate, disability certificate, medico-legal reports, and we are not permitted to do postmortems, and we cannot provide the postmortem opinions. Then another question is, can I be called to a court? Yes, under the section 45 of Indian Evidence Act, now it is known as Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam. So under this act, you can summon as an expert witness if court consider your opinion relevant. So, however, the court must be satisfied with your qualification and relevance to the case. So while being present in court, always present your case record properly, give your clear opinion, and do not claim any exaggerate manner. Do not claim anything in exaggerate. Okay. So up till now, we have discussed that homeopathy is legally recognized and protected by several rights, acts. The scope of practice is limited, and proper documentation is very much essential, and we should aware with our medical legal laws. So let's move further. Here we will look at what are the medical legal duties of an homeopathic practitioner. So objective is to ensure the practitioner on the medical legal responsibilities they carry during the patient care and how to protect themselves legally. So let's understand the concept of duty in medical legal practice. So in legal terms, duty of care means the obligation of the doctor to follow the standard of reasonable medical care. Now, if any patient come to your clinic, even for one consultation, then you have some duties. There are 4 pillars of your duties, that is duty to diagnose, duty to inform, duty to document, and duty to refer. Okay. Let's discuss about the medical records and its legal importance. So in court, what matters the most is not what you said, but what you wrote. So good documentation is equal to legal protection. And if your documentation is incomplete or absent, then you are liable. So what should a case record contain? So while maintaining a case record, fill all the details like necessary details of patient, You should mention date and time of your consultation, patient presenting complaints, provisional diagnosis or final diagnosis, your treatment or medicinal prescriptions, follow-up instructions, and if any referral notes is there, and do your signature with stamp. And always remember that always use a serial number system in your clinic while practicing. That maintain a proper serial number of your case records. Keep the records safe for minimum 3 years and preferably for 7 years. After that, you can discard your records. Now comes the part of consent. Consent is not just a formality, but it is legal requirement. We all know that there are various type of consent, like implied consent, verbal consent, written consent. So here are some scenarios where consent is legally required. In the cases of internal examination, for example, per vaginal examination, in cases of minor procedures like drainage of abscess, when we have to use the photograph of the patient, we should take the consent of patient first. And while doing medico-legal referral, so content, while taking content, just keep in mind that consent must be in the patient language. It must be signed. That you should mention the date, include the document. Then comes the part of certificate writing. So as we discussed earlier, that homeopathic doctor can issue medical certificate, illness certificate, leave certificate, referral certificate, recovery certificate, etc. This certificate must include the patient name, age, his sex, date of visit to your clinic, your observation, your opinions, and the duration of the rest, if there is any. And it should also contain your full name, your registration number, your stamp, and your signature. But as we discussed earlier, that we cannot issue any disability certificate, birth certificate, or death certificate, or MLC certificate. So just keep in mind that. So now moving further, being a homeopath, we have also a duty to act in emergencies. So what should we do when an emergency case approach to us at our clinic? So at that time, there are some simple steps that we have to follow. So first of all, when an emergency approaches us, then provide basic first aid support care. Okay, if you are trained, then you have to provide some basic first aid treatment to the patient. Then after giving the first aid, call the ambulance and refer it to the higher center or to the government hospital. Meanwhile, you should document everything. Means you should note the time of arrival of the patient to your clinic. At that time, what was the condition of the patient, what steps you should you taken, and the time of the reference, at what time you refer the patient to the higher authorities. And you should inform the police if any cases of injury, assault, or poisoning, or suspected suicidal attempts comes to you. Now remember, failure to refer or record can be considered as negligence. So you have to inform the authorities in medical legal cases. So now treating some special situation in some scenarios, what are our legal responsibilities in that case? So if you are treating a minor patient, at that time you should take a consent of his or her parents or his or her local legal guardians. While treating rape survivor, always you have to refer it immediately to the government hospital. Remember, do not attempt any local examination. Do not manage the case by your own. It is better to refer the patient to government setup. While treating suicidal attempt, you should inform the police and refer and document everything in perfect manner. And while treating injury cases, you should record the history in patient own words, mark this case as an MLC and refer to the respected centers. So do not suppress MLC or give clean chit without proper authority. You may be summoned in a court later. Okay, comes the part of referral. So when and how do we refer a patient to a higher center? So when to refer? If complication arises during the treatment and you cannot able to handle the case, or you don't have any setup for handling that complication, at that time you can refer the patient to the higher centers. When there is diagnosis is unclear, then at that time you have to refer the patient. If there is any need for surgical care or you need any emergency support, then at that time patient should be referred to the higher center. And in all cases of suspected medico-legal case, you should refer the patient to the higher center. Now, how to refer? So for the reference, you should write the reference note which contains the patient name, basic information about the patient and condition of the patient. It should contain the time of the reference. It should contain your provisional diagnosis, what care you given at your side, and lastly your signature and your stamp. So now what to avoid? So many homeopaths can make common mistakes. So here are some points that we should avoid this. So first and foremost is do not prescribe allopathic medicines without dual registrations. Just keep in mind. Then do not issue false or backdated certificates. Then do not treat MLC cases without documentation or without reporting it to the authorities. You should also maintain proper case records, and also you should take consent of the patient, and do not do any misleading advertisement or do not do any exaggerated claims. So these are some points that we should kept in our mind for safe practice. Here I want to share a case with you that once a homeopath that treated a 16-year-old girl with complaint of profuse bleeding for last 4 to 5 days. While treating, he prescribed the medicine and the patient was discharged. But here, what was the mistake? That while treating this patient, the physician do not take consent. After that, what happens? The girl become collapsed, and his family files a case of negligence against the doctor. So outcome of the case was the practitioner, the homeopath, it was responsible for the negligence, and its license got suspended. So moral of this case is always take consent. You should always record everything and refer early as if possible. So here are some final tips to protect yourself legally. So to stay legally safe, we should maintain the clean and detailed records. We should take the written concept of all the critical actions. never work beyond your qualification or registration. We should issue only those certificates that we are authorized for. We have to refer responsibly and early, and attempt a medical legal workshop regularly. So let's now move further to explore how homeopathy intersect with forensic principle and criminal law. The objective is to explore how homeopathy can contribute to the forensic and medico-legal practice. So in this section, we will explore how forensic principle intersect with the homeopathy and how a homeopath can safely and effectively handle medico-legal cases like poisoning, psychological disorders, cases of the injury, and criminal cases. So first of all, let's understand what is forensic relevance. So forensic medicine that deals with the application of the medical knowledge for legal purposes. Homeopathy, being a recognized system of the medicine, plays a crucial role in managing such cases that may be end up in a court that requires a medical legal documentation. So basically, being a homeopath, we are not at the crime scene investigators, but we are the frontline observers and the first reporters. So let's understand the role of homeopathy in cases of the poisoning. So in many poisoning cases, especially in the rural areas, they first come to a local practicing doctor. So at that time, we must recognize the symptoms early, we must stabilize the patient, and we have to refer it to the higher center immediately. Okay. But here, keep in mind that homeopathy does not replace the procedure of stomach wash or ICU support. Always refer a poisoning case urgently and document each and everything in perfect manner. So if you are practicing in rural area, then you should maintain a basic first aid kit, basic emergency kit with ORS, cottons, gloves, and consent form, etc. So now in psychiatric cases. So we know that mental state is a key in criminal behavior. Homeopathy has a unique role here because we treat the individual's mind. We do not treat the diagnosis. So we have a scope in these cases. For example, in cases of the mania or psychosis, we have some medicines like belladonna, hyoscyamus, stramonium. In cases of the depression and suicidal ideas, we have medicines like oromet, netramute, ignatia. In cases of hysterical fits, the medicines like lacasis and moscus can help us. In cases of sexual perversion and offenses, medicines like medorinum, staphylococcus, anacardium might be helpful, but you have to first detect the symptoms of this case. And if you found that it might be any criminal intention behind that, then you should refer a case to a higher authorities. Now, if any injury cases come to your clinic, then here are some basic guidelines for that treating that cases. So whether it may be the case of simple injury or grievous hurt or any dangerous injury or fatal injury, what should you do? You must ask the patient for the cause of injury. It might be accidental, it might be assault, or it might be unknown. Then record the patient own words. All the history is recorded in patient language. Then document the type, size, site, and depth of the injury in detail. Mark this case as an MLC and refer it to the government hospital. Remember, never erase, never overwrite, or never falsify the injury note. this may be presented in the courts. Now, if you are handling a sexual offense victim, then remember, do not perform any genital examination unless you are registered and trained to do so. And do not treat minor girls without legal guardian consent. Report immediately to the government hospital. Maintain a strict confidentiality. Do not share your case with anyone. Document date, time, complaints, and whom to refer. In these cases, being an homeopath, we can provide a medicinal support. Like in post-traumatic cases, we have some medicines like Staphylococcus platina, Oromet, Pulsatilla, and in cases of emotional grief or any mental illness, we have remedies like Ignatia and Netromure. So we can provide some medicinal support. Okay. So while handling a suicidal case or any suicidal attempt case, so basically we all know that suicide is a crime and it is also an emergency. So at that time we are the first contact persons. So in that cases, our duty is to detect the symptoms first, and we have to provide the medicinal supports, and after that we have to refer it to the psychiatric hospital or any government hospital. So we have some medicines that can help in these suicidal cases like Oromet, Netromsal, Ignatia, Antimcrude, etc. Okay. Okay. Here comes the part of forensic photography and homeopathic records. Nowadays, we are posting on social medias of patient of the photos, our treatment, and before after photographs. So there are some legal rules for sharing these photographs on online platform. So when you are sharing any photograph of lesions or any injuries or any unusual condition, at that time you should take the consent of the patient first. Why? Because these photographs can be a legal evidence. It helpful in documentation for the insurance or might be in the court. It is also important in the research papers or publication purpose. So when you have to publish that photograph, you follow. You have to take the consent, especially in cases of the children's or where there is a genital photograph. So you should take consent of the patient. You should keep original copies in your file, and while sharing photographs for education purpose, then at that time you have to blur the identity of the patient. So improper sharing without consent may lead to legal action under the IT Act or POCSO Act in the minors. So always keep in mind that consent is very much important while sharing your photographs. So here are some repertorial rubrics with forensic relevance from the repertory Kent and Murphy. There are some mental rubrics as well as physical rubrics uh, that have some forensic importance. So mental rubrics like delusion, crime committed, fear of police, moral feeling, want of, violent tendency to, suicidal disposition, bleeding, prolonged, bruise easily, convulsion after fright, pain from the injury. And if we see the physical rubrics like bleeding, bruise easily, convulsion after fright, pain from the injury, etc. So now comes the important portion that where to inform the police, when to inform the police. So there are some scenario where you must notify the police. In the cases of suspected assault, in cases of the rape, in cases of the domestic violence, in cases of injury where the history is unknown, where the cases of suicide or poisoning cases, in cases of abandoned newborns, cases of the injury with road traffic accident, and all the MLC cases. Remember, failure to report is punishable under the IPC and may be interpreted as a suppression of the evidence. So in every situation, you should inform the police first. So now let's conclude the session. As an homeopathic doctor, your legal safety, professional respect, and patient trust, that all depends on how ethically and responsibly you practice. So don't just treat the disease. You have to protect your profession also. So train yourself in a medico-legal awareness, build bridges with forensic and legal departments. So homeopathy has a great scope in forensic integration, especially in the rural areas where psychiatric cases and trauma cases approaches us first. So that's all about the today's session. I hope you enjoyed the session.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very insightful presentation on medico-legal aspects. It was well structured, highly informative, and presented with great clarity. And your ability to simplify this very complex legal concept and relate it to medical practice made this session very, very engaging and valuable. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, in your experience, do you think platform like Homeopathy 360 helps, in shaping awareness amongst our professionals?
Yes, definitely, definitely, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, audience, for taking time to be with us. Let this session not be the end of the conversation, but the beginning of greater awareness in our practice. Stay tuned to Homeopathy 360 for more such academic and clinical webinars in the future. Also, in the chat box, there is a registration link for our upcoming quiz marathon, which will be on 14th and 15th of October. Do register. You might just get rewards. Thank you again. Thank you, Janki ma'am and audience. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.